Hey guys, I'm David Northcutt, Sprinter Doc, and today we're gonna look at how to clean the EGR valve in your Sprinter. Okay, these are the tools that I use. 2 pairs of hose clamp off pliers. Got my electric ratchet with an extension with an E10 socket, flathead screwdriver, a chisel. I use the kind that you can hit on the end. This one is a wood chisel. It's very sharp on the end. It works really well for what I use it for. You've got a long pick that helps get the hoses off the EGR valve. That's very helpful. Hammer that, and a little bit of high friction grease. You're gonna need a gasket, 642, 142, 2380. Spring clamp pliers to get the clamps off. And that consists of the locking pliers part of it with a long cable, and this hooks onto the spring clamp to help get that off. I use Kroil penetrating oil. I'll put the link in the description. And Tune-Up 926 carbon remover. What we use to clean it with. Alright. Okay, first we're going to take the air filter box out. So I usually just grab this little part right here, this little elbow, and pull it until it pops up out of there. And then I just grab it with both hands and rock it back and forth. It'll come up out of there. Sit it right there. This is your, my cameraman skills are not that great, so bear with me guys. Alright, this little jump point, it's got a little release under here. Push that over, and that comes up like this. Just set that over to the side. See this little tab? That's what presses in to release it. Alright, over here, you've got 2 plugs. You do want to make sure you leave the engine off for probably about 10 minutes before you disconnect this, or you're going to get a check engine light if you don't already have one. Alright, so right here, I'll stick my screwdriver in here, pop that up. The same thing over here. Comes up out of there. Take this clamp off and loosen it. Take this off your air filter box. And the air filter box will come out of your way. Right, next. The best time to do this is with a hot engine. So what I recommend doing is test driving it, get the engine good and hot, and then when you bring it back, you're going to shut it off, let it cool down a little bit. You don't want it to be just smoking hot, so you do want to let it cool off a little bit. Then you're going to slowly loosen this cap just to relieve that pressure off the cooling system. Do this very slowly. Alright, we're going to take our oil filler neck out of the way. It's one E10 bolt. And then this just turns. You want to take your oil cap off. Put it back on. Keep anything from falling in the engine. Alright. Just want to verify you don't have any pressure in the cooling system. Loosen your cap. You're going to take a couple of these clamp off pliers. You're going to clamp off your coolant hoses on either side of your EGR valve. Alright. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these spring clamps loose. So there's your little spring clamp. You got one on each hose. That's what it looks like when you have it clamped off. Here's my spring clamp pliers. It's basically just a locking set of pliers with a cable with this piece on the end that holds on to the spring clamp and squeezes it together. So basically you're gonna hook these over around the little clamp. You squeeze the pliers and it'll release that clamp. Then you just work it up like so. Alright, that's one. Sometimes you may have to use a pair of pliers to reposition those spring clamps in order to get the spring clamp tool on there. There's the other one. Okay, at this point you want to get your hook tool. Just start working it around the bottom on your hose. Just kind of work your way around and free that hose up. And it'll start coming up off there. You're going to spill a little bit of coolant, so you may want to put a drain bucket under there. It's not going to be a lot, but it will be a little bit. I just lay that hose over to the side, out of my way. Do the same thing on the other one. Just pull that back and put that over out of my way. Just going to disconnect this electrical plug by unlocking this tab with your pocket screwdriver or a flathead screwdriver. And you can just push down on this tab with your thumb. Definitely not your thumb. And that'll pull off like so. Now we just want to take these 4E10 bolts out. Just lay them up on the windowsill. Now just spray some penetrating oil around the base of the EGR valve, in the holes. If it's stuck really good, you just want to let that soak for probably at least 10, 20 minutes. And to get the valve out, this is where I use my chisel. Now I'm going to show you close up on the valve. I turn my chisel with the angled side down and the flat side up. And I get in here, so right here, and you can tap on it a little bit, and that'll usually free that up and get it to come up just a little bit. Once you get it to move up a little bit like that, you can get some more penetrating oil down in there. So you can see now we have a gap. And we can spray some penetrating oil in there, and that'll get in there around that valve and help you free it up. This one's not too bad. It's already moving pretty good. There we go. That's how you get it out. Here's a close-up of the valve. You can see all the carbon buildup on it. What happens is that gets so carboned up that that valve will stick. It's a spring-loaded valve, so I'll try to demonstrate how it gets stuck. I'm going to move it a little bit and see how it does. This one is not the worst that I've ever seen, but it does need to be cleaned. Okay, I've got my 926 cleaner, and what you do is just fill this part of the EGR valve up right here with your cleaner. Let that sit. Now we're going to apply it to this part of the valve. Let that soak for about 10 or 15 minutes. Whatever you do, don't get water on the electrical part up here. That's gonna damage the electric part of the motor, or the EGR valve. And you're probably not gonna get it clean enough the first time. You'll probably have to repeat the cleaning. Okay, here I have the valve after I cleaned it. It's nice and shiny. All right, now we're just gonna reinstall it. Okay, what I do, I just obviously figure out which way the gasket goes on, where all your holes line up. Get your bolts started a little bit through the bolt holes in the gasket, like that. Do that to all 4 of them. Like so. That'll hold your gasket to be where it's lined up. Okay, if you're in a workshop where you have compressed air, you want to blow out your bolt holes. Make sure there's no penetrating oil down inside those holes. What can happen if you have fluid down inside your holes when you're tightening the bolts, that can create a little hydrolock situation on the end of the bolt, and it just can crack the housing. So you just want to make sure your bolt holes are cleaned out. And if you don't have compressed air, just get like some paper towels, you know, twist it up, whatever you got to do to get those holes cleaned out. Make sure there's no liquid inside those holes. All right, now remember your electrical connector right here faces towards the driver's side. Just put that down in there. Try to get your holes lined up. Make sure you always start your bolts by hand. That way you don't get them cross-threaded. If you have a power ratchet, just go nice and easy. Use a crisscross pattern a little bit at a time. Just work that valve back down in there. You don't want to try to tighten it all at once on one side. And then once you get them all the way down, tighten those down with a torque wrench to 8 Newton meters. Let's put our hoses back on. line those clamps back up where the marks are on the hoses where they were before. Alright, now that we have our clamps on, our hoses on, just plug it back up. Turn it where you can see it. It's going to be pointing almost backwards. It's going to be pointing kind of towards the turbo is where it goes down in there, and then you just twist it and lock it back. Put your bolt back in. Okay, don't forget to top off your coolant. This is MB 325.6 coolant. Don't forget to mix it 50-50. Just make sure it's about an inch above the code mark. Last but not least, we need to put our air filter box back in. These two areas right here, just slide onto these rubber mounting points and just push the front back down. Put your clean air pipe back on. Put the elbow back in, and don't forget your jump point. Lock that back in place. Get your air box plugged back up. Okay, hopefully you got your EGR valve all cleaned up and it's running fine. Hope this helps. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.